Picture this: 22 years old, fresh computer science degree, first real job offer in hand, $58,000 a year. Felt like everything. You promised yourself, when I earn more, I will save more. When I earn more, I will invest more. When I earn more, everything will be different. 3 years later, you are earning $90,000. And somehow, you are saving less than you were at $58,000. 5 years after that, $120,000 a year. And the bank account at the end of every month looks almost identical to when you were making half of this. No gambling, no addiction, no financial disaster, just a quiet, invisible force that grows every single time your income grows and consumes every raise before you ever get the chance to feel it. It has a name: lifestyle inflation, and it is the single most common reason high-earning engineers never build real wealth, despite doing everything else right. In this video, I am going to show you the actual data behind lifestyle inflation, how much it costs the average engineer over a career, the 3 specific patterns that make it almost impossible to notice until it is too late, and the exact 3-step system to stop it permanently without giving up the life you worked hard to build. This is the video nobody made for engineers. Let us get into it. Let me describe something, and I want you to be honest with yourself about how much of this sounds familiar. Your first apartment out of college, small, shared, maybe not in the best neighborhood. You did not care. You were just excited to be independent. Rent was $700 a month. You cooked at home. You drove an old car. You watched what you spent. Then the first raise came. And almost immediately, without sitting down and consciously deciding, things started shifting. You moved to a nicer apartment. Reasonable. You were earning more, and the old place felt like it belonged to a different chapter. The car started feeling embarrassing at the company parking lot. You upgraded. Also reasonable. You had worked hard for this. You started eating out more, ordering more, buying better versions of things you already owned, upgrading subscriptions from free to premium, saying yes to trips you would have said no to before. None of it felt reckless. All of it felt deserved. And that is exactly what makes lifestyle inflation so dangerous. Every single upgrade made complete sense in isolation. But all of them together, happening silently across every category of your life simultaneously, meant that your expenses were growing at almost exactly the same rate as your income. So despite earning significantly more, the gap between what came in and what went out stayed almost the same. Here is what makes this especially painful for engineers specifically. We are trained to optimize systems. We catch inefficiencies at work immediately. We would never let a production system bleed resources without investigating. But lifestyle inflation works below the threshold of what feels like a problem. Each individual upgrade is small enough to seem completely justified. The new apartment, justified. The car, justified. The food delivery habit, justified. The software subscriptions, justified. No single decision looks like a mistake. But the compounding effect of all those justified decisions is silently destroying the wealth that your salary should be building. And the worst part, by the time most engineers notice, 5, 7, 10 years have passed. And the wealth that compound interest should have been building during those years is gone forever. You cannot get compounding time back. That is what this video is really about. Let me show you the actual numbers behind what I just described, because this is where it stops feeling abstract and starts feeling real. Point 1. The data on lifestyle inflation is worse than most people expect. A study by Princeton researchers Angus Deaton and Daniel Kahneman, which became one of the most cited studies in behavioral economics, found that beyond a certain income threshold, additional income does not meaningfully improve day-to-day emotional well-being, but spending always increases to match it. A separate analysis of consumer expenditure data across high-income professionals found that for every 10% increase in income, average spending increased by 8.5%. Not 10%. 8.5. That sounds almost responsible until you do the math over a career. Engineer at 25, earning $60,000, spending $52,000, saving $8,000 per year. Same engineer at 30, earning $90,000, spending $78,000, saving $12,000 per year. Same engineer at 35, earning $120,000, spending $105,000, saving $15,000 per year. Savings went up. That looks like progress. But the savings rate, the percentage of income being saved, went from 13% to 13% to 12.5%. A decade of career growth, 3 salary jumps, and the savings rate barely moved. Meanwhile, if that engineer had held their savings rate at just 20% throughout, here is what changes. At 60,000, saving 12,000 per year. At 90,000, saving 18,000 per year. At 120,000, saving 24,000 per year. Invested consistently into an index fund over that same 10-year period, the difference in wealth built is approximately $240,000. Not from earning more, from not letting spending consume every raise. Point 2. Lifestyle inflation hides in 3 specific patterns that engineers almost never catch. Pattern 1 is called the relativity trap. When your income increases, your social circle often shifts as well. New colleagues, new neighborhood, new baseline for what normal looks like. And humans are hardwired to compare themselves to the people immediately around them. When everyone at your company drives a nice car starts feeling like a neutral baseline rather than a luxury. When your colleagues take 2 international trips a year, one trip starts feeling like you are falling behind. This is not weakness. This is human psychology operating exactly as it was designed. But for an engineer trying to build wealth, it is a system that works directly against you. The relativity trap slowly redefines what feels like enough upward every time your reference group changes. Pattern 2 is called the comfort creep. This one is the quietest. It is not one big upgrade. It is 50 small ones. The grocery store that is slightly more expensive but so much nicer. The coffee that is $4 instead of $1. The flight seat upgrade that feels reasonable given how hard you have been working. The hotel that is just a little better than what you would have booked 2 years ago. Each one individually is maybe $10 or $20. All of them together, running across every single purchase category, add up to hundreds of dollars per month that never appear as a line item anywhere. Comfort creep is invisible in a budget because no single item is large enough to flag. But the aggregate, tracked over a full year, is often between $3,000 and $8,000 of additional spending that has no corresponding increase in life satisfaction. Pattern 3 is called the reward justification loop. This is the most psychologically powerful one. Engineering is hard. The sprints are brutal. The on-call rotations are exhausting. The pressure is constant. And after a difficult week or a difficult month, spending feels earned. I worked hard. I deserve this. That feeling is not wrong. You did work hard. You do deserve good things. But the reward justification loop turns what should be occasional treats into a default spending pattern. And once a spending pattern becomes default, it no longer feels like a reward. It just feels like normal life, which means the next reward needs to be slightly bigger to produce the same feeling. This is the loop. And without a system to interrupt it, it runs indefinitely. So now you have seen the data. You have seen the 3 patterns. And I want to be very clear about something before we get into the solution. The goal here is not to live like you are still earning $58,000. That is not the point. That is not the life you worked for. The goal is to be intentional, to let lifestyle grow, but to let wealth grow faster. Here is the 3-step system that makes that possible. The first step is to set your savings rate before you set your lifestyle. This is the entire game in one sentence. Most engineers do it in the wrong order. Income arrives, lifestyle expands to match it, whatever is left gets saved. The correct order is the opposite. Income arrives, savings rate is protected first. Lifestyle lives inside what remains. Here is exactly how to implement this. Every time your income increases, before you change a single thing about your life, you automate an additional fixed percentage into investments. The rule I recommend for engineers is this. Every raise, split it 50-50. 50% of every raise goes directly into automated investment. Immediately, before you adjust your lifestyle to the new number. The other 50%, spend freely. Upgrade what matters to you. Enjoy the reward of your hard work. This way, your lifestyle does grow. You are not depriving yourself, but your wealth grows faster than your lifestyle. Every single time. And because the investment increase is automated before you see it, you never feel the loss. Your brain adapts to the new take-home number and treats it as normal within 60 to 90 days. Set this up on the day your raise hits. Not a week later. Not when things calm down. The day it hits. The second step is to run a quarterly spending audit and look specifically for comfort creep. Not a full budget overhaul. Not a spreadsheet with 50 categories. Just one focus question, asked every 3 months. What am I spending money on now that I was not spending money on 18 months ago, that has not meaningfully improved my life? Open your last 3 months of bank statements. Go line by line. You are not looking for obvious waste. You are looking for comfort creep, the small upgrades that happen so gradually you never consciously decided them. The more expensive grocery store you switch to without noticing. The subscription tier that auto-upgraded. The food delivery that went from once a week to 4 times a week over 2 years. The third step is to design your reward system intentionally before you need it. The reward justification loop is powerful because it fills a vacuum. When there is no intentional reward system, spending fills that role automatically. The solution is to design your rewards before you need them, so that when the hard week ends and the brain says you deserve something, there is already an answer that does not default to unplanned spending. This looks different for everyone, but the structure is the same. Decide in advance what are the specific things that genuinely make me feel rewarded and recharged. For some engineers, it is one international trip per year planned, budgeted, something to look forward to. For others, it is a specific gear upgrade every 6 months, one thing they genuinely want, bought intentionally rather than impulsively. The key is that the reward is defined, budgeted, and planned, not triggered by emotion in the moment. When the reward is already in the plan, the reward justification loop has nothing to fill. The impulse spend loses its power because the brain already knows the real reward is coming. And your wealth-building system stays completely intact. Before you close this video, I want you to do one thing. Pull up your bank statement from 18 months ago and compare it to last month. Not to judge yourself, not to feel bad about anything, just to see the number. How much did your monthly spending increase compared to how much your monthly savings increased over that same period? For most engineers who do this honestly, spending grew faster. That gap between spending growth and savings growth is the exact cost of lifestyle inflation in your specific life. Now you can see it. And once you can see a system, you can fix it. The next video goes deeper into the investment side of this equation. Specifically, how an engineer on a $120,000 salary builds a system where wealth grows automatically, regardless of what lifestyle inflation tries to do. The numbers in that video will change how you think about your monthly take-home permanently. It is already up. Link is above this screen. This channel exists for one reason. The financial system was never explained to the people who arguably need it most, high-earning professionals who were handed a great salary and zero framework for what to do with it. Every video here is built on data, built on systems, and built for the way an engineering mind actually works. If that is what you have been looking for, you are already here. Subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.